This is Ring Raps for Pep Talk UK. I've got the pleasure to be joined by some heavyweights this morning on two different sides of the globe. We've got Ade from Boxing Talk with Ade from the UK, and we've got Cynthia Conte from Ring Magazine over there in Los Angeles. How are we doing, guys? How's everybody doing?
Good.
Very well, very well.
Good. Hope you guys are safe and your families are safe and you're all doing well.
Yeah, likewise, same thing, Cynthia. I know that America's this kind of place at the moment where things are shutting down again, it seems like. So again, hopefully you're doing well and everyone's staying safe.
Yeah, it's tough. I knew it was happening. I knew it was going to happen. And then it happened. I'm like, well, there you go. So hopefully how are you guys? How's UK doing? I don't know. I mean, you guys are much better off than we are.
Yeah, we're kind of coming out of everything right now. Everything's kind of opening up. Obviously, they're telling people to be careful, wear your masks. But I think we're kind of on the good side of it now.
Okay.
Gyms are about to open in a couple of days. Everything's kind of going right. I mean, the gym one is important for people.
But as long as the gym opens, Ade is happy.
As long as the gym opens.
No, it's true though. But are you kind of a little worried? Because here in LA, we had to wear a mask and gloves, like latex gloves. And then they would say, try not to wear a mask if you're doing high intensity workout because you might pass out. I mean, I don't know.
Ade, I guess we don't know.
Ade, if they said you had to wear a full body latex to go to the gym, you'd still do it, right?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I would go. I need to go. It's funny. I bought a spin bike. I got some weights, but it's just not enough in the house. It's just I don't get that vibe, that feeling. So I need to go.
No, well, good. Well, just be careful,
ladies and gentlemen.
You can be careful. It's the other people.
Let's jump straight in. Cynthia.
Yes.
Talk to me all things Canelo.
Well, from what I know, based on everyone else, it's Canelo and Callum Smith. That it's still in. I don't know if it's in the works. I'm not exactly sure. I interviewed Joe Gallagher yesterday, and I asked him. He's hoping, but I know that there's Jason Quigley, and I think I forgot the other name. I can't remember, but who knows? Who knows? We don't know. It's your guess is as good as mine. No one knows. But I know that they want the best. Canelo wants the best in, I think, 168 division. But we shall see. It might be even David Lemieux, maybe.
That's definitely not the best, right, Ade?
I know. Well, but it is Golden Boy stable, so we shall see.
Yeah.
I don't know. No one. I keep trying to ask, Golden Boy people. They don't say anything to me. They probably don't know either, so I'm not sure. Why? Who do you guys think it is?
Ade, tell us. What are we thinking?
Well, hopefully it's Callum Smith, right? I mean, the Ring recognized number one at 168, unbeaten. It comes with that, I say name value, maybe not name value to American audiences, but over here in the UK, we kind of know him as, I don't think he's the number one super middleweight, but he's definitely in the top 3 or 4, right, with Caleb Plant, Benavidez, and chucking Billy Joe Saunders as well. So I think he's probably the best name of the names we're hearing. We don't want to hear, I don't think we want to see John Quigley or John Ryder. No disrespect to those two, but you don't really want to. You want to see an unbeaten fighter go in there against Canelo. I think the other guys would just be going, and this is no disrespect to them, right? They're going for a paycheck. I don't think if you were to ask 100 people, will John Quigley beat Canelo? I think 100 people would say no. Whereas I think if you ask, would Callum Smith cause him problems and maybe beat him, it will still be heavily Canelo, but maybe you'll get 10 or 15 that will say Callum Smith. So there's that intrigue there at least. So I'd rather see someone in there that's a bit more of a live dog than a John Ryder, who is very similarly built to Canelo, or Quigley, who has he's not really got to that world level yet. He's fought for NABF titles, but he's not touched it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you because, I mean, Canelo, he's already won the regular. Now in order to be the best, Callum Smith has he has a super. I think it's a great fight. I mean, it's a very tough fight, and it's a very good test for Canelo. And especially, he's already vacated the 175, so 168. He's not going to go back to 160, so may as well just fight all the best. I know that Caleb Plant, I remember he said that he wanted it right after he had his fight, but then everyone misconstrued what he said, saying that, oh, because he just fought, he didn't want the fight. But, eventually they're all going to fight. But we want Caleb Plant and David Benavidez to fight first. And then, what would be a great fight if it were going to be a Mexican war, David Benavidez and Canelo. But Canelo wants the belt, and we want Plant and Benavidez to have their little match. And then we'll see who fights Canelo after that. But no, I completely agree with you.
There was some
working. I like your hat. I've never seen you wear a hat. It's nice.
Well, you always see me wear like black hats. You always see me wear snapbacks, but not. It's too early for me to be even trying to do the hair that I don't have.
You're telling me my eyes are so red. I'm like.
Yeah, but Nazi, listen. I mean, Cynthia, I'm naturally a nighttime person, so for me, the clock you're working on is like, that's cool for me. Early mornings, no way. What is there any validity to the kind of tit for tat between Oscar and Canelo, and some people in circles rumoring that Canelo doesn't want to give any in-house Golden Boy fighters a meal ticket for this fight?
Look, we've seen it all play out at the last fight. You saw it. They don't talk, but I think he is his promoter, and Canelo is his own promoter, his own right. But it's business, it's boxing, and I know that. I told Oscar this. I go, you guys all fight, but at the end of the day, you guys are all family. Like you guys came up together. You helped Canelo along his career. So I don't know. I think when the money started all coming in, not just for Canelo, but for everyone, everything changed. Boxing landscape changed. It's about making money, and it's a business. So I would say there is some validity to it, but that is my opinion. No one told me this, but based on what I see and what I read, we saw it at the press conference.
Uncle Bob.
No. Well, Uncle Bob will just say whatever he wants.
Cynthia's Bob Arum's stepdaughter. You know that, right?
No.
You ever want a lunch with Bob Arum and you're in LA, give Cynthia a shout. Adi, can we take...
You know what, the funny thing is, there's always going to be problems between sort of promoters and fighters. It's not the first. So as much as people want to kind of make Canelo versus Oscar a big thing, I mean, you can go in the last 5 years and see history problems between sort of fighters and promoters. It happens. When the big buck starts coming in, like Cynthia says, and we know the big bucks has been coming in for a while with Canelo, there's going to be sort of fractions, but they're a good team. They've made good money with each other. Oscar's promoted his fights, so Oscar always speaks well of Canelo. You wonder how long that deal will last. I don't know how long they've got as a contract with each other, but I think they're a good team. I really do. I think what Oscar and Canelo have done in the last sort of 5-6 years has been fantastic, to the point where he's now pound for pound number one. I mean, he is the face of boxing. I know we over here like to think of Anthony Joshua, but Canelo is the biggest name in boxing. And I don't think he would have got to that without Oscar De La Hoya. So they're a good team. They're a good team.
Yeah, I agree. It's also, the whole with the Ryan Garcia thing. I mean, it's like they're trying to play that thing out because of Canelo and Ryan Garcia. They're Eddie Reynoso. So it's just, we don't really know what's going on. It's all hearsay, and until they start spitting it out on Twitter, and then you kind of see it. But maybe you never know. It could be a show. We don't know. We really don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this boxing game is a funny one. We don't know if it's real sometimes or if they're Hollywood movie stars. So who really knows what's going on? When it comes to promoting a fight, anything is allowed, right? We've seen it. So who does know what's going on? Even this Ryan Garcia Oscar thing that plays out on Twitter, but then sometimes you see them together happy. Who knows, right? Who knows?
Ade, can you give us your two cents or 2 pence here in the UK on Billy Joe Saunders passing up the opportunity to have the Canelo fight, allegedly?
Yeah, I mean, what he's done is removed his name from the equation, or he said he removed himself from the equation a few weeks ago. Personally, I think it's crazy, especially when you listen to why he said he removed himself. I think I watched his interview of Seconds Out, and he said, look, 9 weeks isn't long enough to prepare to get ready for Canelo. I always say that as a professional athlete, and that's what these boxers are, right? They're not part-time. I know they fight part-time, but they are professional athletes. You should be ready. If you fight at 168, you should be around 190 and someone calls you, you should be able to get ready to fight at 168 in 9 or 10 weeks, especially when that calls Canelo, especially when that call is fighting the pound for pound #1. Even though Billy Joe Saunders has moaned about the paycheck, it still will be his biggest paycheck, right? I mean, he's not earned that money. He didn't get that for Andy Lee, definitely didn't get that for David Lemieux, didn't get that for Chris Eubank Jr. I just don't think he's used to being the B-side and playing that B-side role. All of his fights, he's been the A-side. And I think he's been the B-side. Floyd was the B-side against Arturo Gatti. Floyd was the B-side against Oscar. Canelo was the B-side against Floyd. It happens in boxing. Once you get to that top table, unfortunately, you've got to realize that in order to be the A-side, you've got to cut off the A-side's head. And I think this was an opportunity for him to go in there, fight Canelo. If you win, it's a big if, but if you win, you become the A-side. Just how it works. And I just don't know if he knows that at the top table, because let's be honest, he's not fought at that top table. And I think Eddie needs to get into his head, this is just how it works. And I just don't think he likes to be dictated to. Cynthia,
I don't know if you can read between the lines of Ade's frustration. He's a big Billy Joe Saunders fan.
Mhm.
There's a feeling that his career's kind of going to the wayside at the minute. And us UK fans in particular are a bit concerned. Obviously, it was unfortunate he missed the Cinco de Mayo date due to COVID, but we're just a little bit worried that his career is kind of...
Everyone lost out on their on their fights because of COVID.
But Cinco de Mayo with Canelo is the #1 fight in boxing. And we're just, if you could just take it from there, I mean, we're over here, we're worried that not only has Billy missed this opportunity to get a second bite of the cherry with Canelo, but there's talks that if Callum Smith doesn't take the Canelo fight, they'll fight, or maybe he finally gets it on with Andrade. What are your thoughts stateside? What do you think of Billy not taking the fight? His reasons, where does he go next? And can Eddie get him a fight in-house?
Okay, so when it comes to Billy Joe Saunders, from what I know here in the States, a lot of people don't like him because when he had the dirty test, when he failed the test against Andrade, so that was already one, and then the excuses. So, I mean, it's a test is a test. It's like Canelo. He got busted. Whatever the excuses, you still have a dirty test. It's on your record. Billy Joe, when he did make his US debut, it was good, but it wasn't the best. He's like, no. And I remember, but also when it happened was during YouTube fighters. So, I mean, they were getting booed. Devin Haney was getting booed. I'm like, these guys are champions. But Billy Joe, I was expecting him to maybe fight like the way he fought against Lemieux, giving us a show. He didn't do any of that. I don't care if it's nerves. I'm like, you fought all your life. You've been on big stages. Coming to the US should be really nothing. I think maybe fighting Canelo, yes, that would have been his biggest payday. Absolutely. If he won or lost. But he's fighting Canelo. That's the golden ticket. Everyone, I'll fight Canelo. But the fact that, from what I remember hearing some of the excuses, so I know a pandemic, and then he has his grandparents, I believe, or parents. He's around elders. But this is the problem, and we've seen it with even top-ranked fighters during the summer series. People were out because of COVID. That guy was 9 pounds overweight. The fact that he even came to go weigh in is disgraceful. Fighters they're dying to get on a card. This is a time for these fighters to shine. So you should always stay ready. You should always be in the gym. I know it's a very difficult time, but for you to be featured on ESPN, and if you're like one, you're on like an undercard, for you to be featured, for people to see who you are, that is mega. That is mega. And Billy Joe, it's kind of like, I feel like he's been giving so many golden tickets and he fucks up. I'm sorry. And a lot of people just don't respect him here. It's just, there's other fighters that were like, well, shit, I'll get in shape. I'm in shape. And I don't disrespect women. I don't disrespect people. I don't, Whatever he does in his personal life, it does reflect. We media, we talk about it. As a female, I'm disgusted by it. It's like, why would I want to talk to him and praise him for the accolades he's done in boxing when everything he does on the outside, it cancels out?
So true.
It's
Everything
true.
you say is so true. I mean, we forget it. It is the Andrade fight. We forget about that one. We forget about over here. There was 2 Martin Murray fights that fell through as well. So I mean, we keep talking about Billy Joe and we keep talking about David Lemieux. That was 2 years ago. Like, move on. I mean, Canelo's fought 3 times since then. Yeah. Right? I mean, like, let's move on. Let's talk about something else. And I mean, I think Billy Joe's the kind of person that's going to look back in 10 years and think, shit, fucked up. Should have done this, should have done that, should have done this. I mean, I don't understand how you can be a professional boxer and not stay in shape. Like, I don't get it. When I see people like, I mean, go and look at Bernard Hopkins right now at 50. Look how good Bernard Hopkins looks right now. I guarantee you Bernard Hopkins isn't past 190. I mean, people just stay in shape. You've got to stay in shape. And that's what the greats always did. And I feel like I look at some of these fighters now, ballooning up in between fights. Some of these fighters are going into fight camp to lose weight. You're supposed to be going into fight camp to kind of sharpen your tools, not to lose weight. The weight should have been off already. And I feel like, look at Billy Joe Saunders, and this guy's over 200 pounds right now. And it's just like, really? And you're looking at Canelo, and Canelo's the guy that's got millions and hundreds of millions in the bank. He's the guy that's got a 6-pack and hitting the bag.
No,
like,
he has a 12-pack.
I'm
like, it's a 12-pack. I'm counting myself.
And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That's not how it should be. Surely the guy coming up, the hungry guy, should be the one in the gym, and Canelo should be the one on the sofa eating chips. That's how it should be. But obviously, Canelo's proven no.
And it's really tough because if I were Billy Joe, I would say, give me Andrade. Them two, I would love to see fight, even though I can't. They're both very technical fighters, so I want to see who's going to outskill the other one. And the fact that Billy Joe fucked up that fight, he should be able to say, you know what, let me make this right,
100%.
And let's fight. Like Victor Conte said, let's make the fight. But Eddie Hearn, obviously, they have a different plan. But at this point, there's no money. There's no gate. Fighters should not be picky right now. Take a fight because you never know. We could literally get shut down for good, and then there's no fights, 0 fights.
Agreed.
What weight does that fight happen at, guys?
Which one?
168.
168.
So
168.
They both hold their respective weight versions of the WBO, and as we know with WBO, you become mandatory challenger immediately when you step up. So we're saying Andrade vacates and jumps up.
Big fight. You're talking Andrade 2-weight. He'll happily vacate. I mean, for now, I think when you get to this level where you've won world titles and he's unbeaten, it's about that paycheck now. So it's all well and good winning other world titles, but it's about, okay, money in the bank. And Andrade, I think Andrade will travel for that fight. That fight's a pay-per-view fight over here in the UK. We know that, right? It's a big fight over here, and we're desperate for big fights over here. I mean, we've got Dillian White Povetkin. That's all we've got. We want a big fight. So if he comes over here and fights in Eddie's back garden, that's a pay-per-view event. We want to see it.
Ade, that was my next point. Is it pay-per-view without a crowd even?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, look. People don't want pay-per-view. I get it, right? But in order for some of these big fights to be made, that's the only way they're going to happen. Because Andrade would want to get paid, Billy Joe wants to get paid, and the broadcasters aren't going to pump up the money for that. So it's got to be pay-per-view. And I think we're so desperate right now. It'll be good to see 2 fighters, both unbeaten, and both of them 2-weight world champions. There's a story there because of them were supposed to fight last year October in the Feld test. So there's something there. I think it's a good fight to happen. I think it will probably be a boring fight, because they're both so technical. It'll probably be boring, but the press conference will be pay-per-view. I mean,
that will be the best part of the whole fight. Their presser.
There you go.
Who can speak more? Their banter.
Yes.
How much is your pay-per-view there? Because it's much cheaper than ours.
Yeah, $19.95.
Which is about $30-something, give or take.
But it would be probably on DAZN, so whatever our DAZN, because ours is like our normal pay-per-view is $70.
Yeah.
Did you see the Showtime's boxing schedule that was just released today?
Yes.
A lot of them are pay-per-views, and so some, if I were as a fan, if I didn't have to work, I would actually have to buy the pay-per-view because I can't go to the fight, and that hurts. But I get it. No, yeah. Andre needs to. I think he did allegedly come out and say that he won't take less money during pandemic. I have a problem with that statement, but
I feel like a lot of these boxers, even Crawford has come out and said something very similar as well. It's almost like you don't get paid if you don't fight. So right now it's zero money or what? I don't understand.
Well, I know in Crawford's contract, it's stated that he has to have a minimum. Like, there's a minimum that I understand, but minimum of what? Of nothing?
Yeah, and a minimum, if Crawford does get the minimum, how bad is the opposing opponent going to look like? I mean, because they're going to have to lowball the opponent. And let's be honest, no one's been too happy with Crawford's last 3 or 4 opponents, even though they've been decent fights. Cabe Velasquez was a decent fight, but how bad is it going to be opposing him? And I think that's the issue with Crawford. Like, if he does get his minimum 5 million, whatever it is, I mean, they're going to have to pay the guy opposing just to get the fight on, a few $100,000. And who's that going to be? Me? Am I going to go down to 147? What is this? This is crazy.
Cabe Velasquez's brother.
Yeah, it's just crazy right now. I mean, these guys look like they're going to sit out the whole of 2020, and that's just madness.
Cynthia, you made a nice point that we could segue into. Me and Ade were discussing the situation kind of coming out tentatively from lockdown, and boxers who've been largely inactive, whether it be through their own career choices or because of Corona. How can we jumpstart the game and kick some of these inactive fighters up the arses to like jump in and get action? Because as we've all just said, better to have 5 or 10 or 50% of something than 100% of nothing. So like your Gary Russell Jr.'s, your Billy Joe Saunders, you know, like all these inactive fighters for, you know, how can we get the sport moving again? Like, don't they need to take risks? Obviously get paid, but you know.
I mean, they're expecting big risk, big reward. There is no big reward. The reward right now is you're going to fight. You need to be active. You have to, all fighters come up. They have a come up. There is no crowd. No crowd, and you get paid maybe a couple $100 if you're lucky. So they have to now take themselves out of that scenario. The world is different. Everything is different. Boxing is not going to be the same for a very long time. So they're going to have to start it all over again and think, I fought with no one in the crowd, and I'm fighting because I love what I do. It's not a business right now. If you can somehow find a sponsor to sponsor you, fine. But fans want to see you. If you want to be inactive for a year, the next person in line is willing to take your place. That's just what it is. And even Oscar said it. If for whatever fighter, if they don't want it, the next guy. There's already the next guy in line, and those people are the ones that are staying ready. It's not the ones that are sitting around looking. Well, if they don't pay me X amount of dollars, then I just don't care. You know, there's always that's going to be someone better than you. It's going to happen. They're going to want it more than you.
You know what? As well, I think. Look, it's harsh to say because I always say fighters should get paid, but I think there's some very average fighters getting paid ridiculous money. And I don't know if that was a problem when DAZN entered the market and kind of pushed the paychecks up for everyone, because everyone was like, well, if DAZN want to pay me 5, well, hey, I'm going to leave. And then PBC were forced to kind of, okay, we'll pay you 7. It's just gone a bit crazy right now. And I feel that these average fighters, and look, I don't mean to be disrespectful when I say average, but in terms of what they've achieved so far, are so used to big checks. It's almost like they don't want to get up if they're asked for 50% less than that. And it's crazy. These were hungry fighters 2 years ago. Now they've had a couple of big checks, and it's like, well, you know, if you're not paying me that, I'm not moving. And you kind of look how hungry people are in like the UFC, for example, because they're not getting those big checks. These guys are willing to fight once. They have fights, and they're like, oh, can I fight again in 10 days, please? Because they're desperate for that paycheck. They're desperate. And look, they're fighting. Like, Jorge Masvidal fought Kamaru Usman on 6 days' notice. And we've got Billy Joe Saunders saying, I won't take 9 weeks. I'm not going to take 9 weeks. Masvidal can lose 20 pounds to fight Kamaru Usman, get paid, go home, now wants to fight again. And that's the hunger boxers used to have. They don't have that hunger anymore because they're getting... Ryan Garcia said, I don't want to fight for 200,000, you're taking the piss. That's what he said. Like, am I fighting? It's really like, come on. These boxers now just... Honestly, I feel like they're getting... look, I don't want to say don't pay them. Get what you're worth is what I would say. But I think some of these guys now, it's ridiculous. And
But
girls.
know
as
the
well.
market. Know the current market. Know the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of us don't have jobs. Like a lot of us are not working. There's families. There's a lot of people. But you know, Oscar said it best. Excuse me. In my interview, my exclusive with him, and it was so well said. It's like, though his days, people fought because they loved the sport. It was like for their legacy. And now he questions boxers. Is it money or legacy that you fight for? And it's true. It's like those guys were fighting 5, 6 times, 7 times a year, as much as they can. And they put on all out wars. Even, I forgot which fight Oscar said. He goes, he got paid X amount of dollars. And then the next fight, after winning that fight, he got paid 30% less for the next fight.
Yeah.
And he's like, I took it because I wanted to fight. I loved it. And now it's very different. But also times are different. There's social media. There's people just throwing money at boxers. You know, and if you don't have a name, then, and if you can't fill seats, if you can't sell pay-per-views, that's how we'll know if you're really loved by fans, is if they're gonna buy your pay-per-view and going to support it, because there's no gate. But that's the true test. That's a true test for fighters, for anyone. And you just mentioned UFC. We saw their pay. They put the best shows right now. I give props to Dana White, Fight Island. I mean, all the fights have been very, very competitive.